Have some fun tonight. Go get us a W. Hell yeah. Ready. Green. What the Copy. Right foot down. We got to go, Brad. Unbelievable, man. Ready to keep your hand in it. Holy oh boy. Oh, boy. Yeah. What? Yeah. I'm done with it. Kiss your face. Set sail. Steve, you look beautiful. Doing great. Ridiculous, man. Holy. You see that? Holy cow. Good job, man. Pick up, baby. Yeah. Holy crap. Yeah.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Darren Gilliam, aka Black Flags Matter, back for another edition of the famous NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Eric cannot make it tonight. What was it, guys? A 3.5 hour flight delay, something like
lightning
that?
delay.
Crazy. Or lightning delay, whatever it is. But hey, at least his flight didn't get canceled and stuff. So he's currently on his way back home. But it's just us. But this is a fun fact before we get into the hot takes. We've done a few shows on my we've done a few podcasts on my channel this year, and the Daytona 500 one, the post Daytona 500 one, is the only one on my channel this year where we've had all four be here. So something about my channel, just always brings up.
You're the common denominator.
Yeah, I guess so, man. But now, thankfully, this time we got Danny on. So it's been a minute since he's been on my channel. Good to have Danny back on. And we have the iceberg. So we still got 3 of the 4. We got a lot to go over, man. The streets of Chicago. We got a lot to go over with that. But before we do, we got to get into the famous hot take segment. So, Jarrett, you start us off. What is your hot take for this week?
Oh, boy. I swear to God, I'm not doing this to stay on brand. But I'm going to say it because of how they treated NASCAR and how the lead up was. The problems were not on, I want to say this now, problems that happened this weekend were almost exclusively not on NASCAR, with like the exception of the scoring problems. So my hot take is this. Yes, the ratings were high. Yes, the attendance was good. But because of the way that city officials acted, I still don't think Chicago is the number one fit for this. I don't think it's the right fit yet. I think NASCAR can go to a city that will work with them better and be able to put on a better show, and will actually communicate the policies for weather delays, lightning, all of that. So while it was good, when I say good, I mean while the end product for NASCAR was good, while I think they got a net gain out of this, I think they could have gotten more if a city had worked with them instead of what Chicago did with them this week.
So right. one of my... Oh, my bad. Sorry. I thought it said Darren instead of Danny. Sorry, Danny. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. You can go first.
No. It says you. You go, bro. Sorry.
No, go ahead. You go first.
I'm so polite. Someone go. All
right, fine. I'll go then. See, we're being too polite now. But all right. Anyways, thank you, Danny. Anyways, so one of my earlier preseason predictions that didn't look good at first. Some thought it was the Ty Gibbs in the playoffs thing, but now it's looking more and more like a possibility. But I'm not here to talk about that for the hot take. One of my preseason predictions was I predicted not just 1 but 2 of the colleague racing cars would make the playoffs. And you know what? I'm gonna jump back on that trade, man. I think both of them will make the playoffs. I had talked about both of them in a video I did during the off week earlier last month. And I had said, look, Allmendinger just needs to step it up a little bit more on the road courses. He needs to be more of a competitor. He's starting to be consistent more in general. And all of a sudden now, Justin Haley and that team have caught some speed out of nowhere. I mean, like, obviously for the street course, track position really helped them out as well. But you still got to be able to keep the car up there, hit your marks, drive up front. And in Nashville, he qualified top 5. So I think the speed is there. There's certainly potential. And, he's not, he's on that cut line there, which we'll get to later on in the show. But, man, you know what? I'm going to hop back on the bandwagon. I think not just 1, but both of the colleague racing cars will make the 2023 NASCAR playoffs.
My hot take is that I'm not sure that I'm sold on this being a good track per se. I'm not convinced that without the rain, this wouldn't have been as entertaining of a race as it really was. I think that it being a wet track, having to deal with those conditions, might have played into the favor of the Cup Series race, because the Xfinity race, well, it wasn't looking to be that exciting from what we saw of it. Just a lot of, felt like single file, follow Cole Custer. Custer looked like he was easily going to win that race. I'm not sold for the Cup Series. That we didn't get a chance to see it dry, but maybe that was for the better because I'm not sold at dry. This would have been as good of a race.
Ooh, we got some bangers there too. We got some bangers. Really appreciate it. But the poll is up. And I knew I was forgetting something for this stream. I forgot to switch it from normal latency to low latency. So if we don't react like close to real time with the chat, that's why. But it's not too far off. So just a heads up for those watching. But yeah, the poll's up. And by Jarrett's request, we have we had Eric in the poll, and Eric's leading the poll so far. So
Eric's hot take is that it was such a great race that he can't even be here to talk about it.
Man, and I was looking forward to hearing Eric's opinions on that, but you know what? We'll have to hear it another time. But fellas, the Chicago Street Race is officially in the books with everything going against it over the weekend. We just got the race in. That's cause to celebrate right there alone. But man, so much had happened, good and bad in some cases. But hey, let's go over it right now, man. You know what? I'm gonna attempt to say his full name: Shane Van Gisbergen. Or Gisbergen. There we go.
You did better than pretty much 90% of NBC.
And Rick, yeah, better than Rick Allen at least. So, but yeah, SVG, man, he wins in his NASCAR Cup Series debut. And let me just say before I hand it off to Jerry here, this debut win, this is unbelievable because in the modern era, which goes back all the way back to 1972. That had never been done before in the modern era. The last time it was done was Johnny Rutherford in 1963. And before him, there was, I believe, either 5 or 6 others that did it in the 1950s. And of course, whoever won the first ever NASCAR race in the late 40s as well. So that alone just makes this win spectacular, man. And the fact, it's a, foreign driver coming in, and, showing up, and NASCAR is not easy to win a race there, and he wins it in his debut. Jarrett, what were your thoughts on that?
I think my first thought on it is I think he saved the weekend fully. Because I think even up to about 25 to go, people were split probably half and half. Some saying this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Others saying that this is really cool. But he came from, I believe someone said 20th. Charged up through the pack, did what I think no one could do all day, and passed with ease. And in my opinion, put on a clinic towards the end there. I see some of the argument or discourse being like, is this a bad look for Cup drivers to get beat by somebody their first time in? But the fact that it has been 60 years to me just says it's so impressive. Yes, these cars are a lot like the cars that he has been racing most of his career, but they're not exactly the same. It's not a one-to-one kind of comparison here. I think what he did should be remembered. I think people should remember where they were when he did it because that's something historic that, again, a once in 60 years kind of deal. Because before that, the only people that did it other than Johnny Rutherford did it in the first 3 years of NASCAR, which is to be expected that would happen more in that time. So if I had to give one word for his performance, I'd say impressed.
Yeah, for sure. Danny?
Yeah, and contrary to what people are saying, no, he didn't come over here and make NASCAR drivers look bad. I don't want anyone to say that either. Because really, I hate to say this, yeah, he did great at the end of it, but for the majority of the race, he was looking like maybe the third best car because I feel like Reddick and Bell was a little bit better than him in the grand scheme of things, but their cards weren't played as well in those stops where things kind of got like switched around. So just didn't play into their favor, but it did for SVG. And ultimately, this was Trackhouse's 5th win, actually. And they got 2 in a row. Who would have believed that if I had told you at the beginning of 2023 that Trackhouse would win 2 consecutive races and the drivers would not be Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez, would you have believed that?
No, definitely not. No, definitely not. I mean, because it's so rare. It's so rare for somebody to just come in from another series and just immediately have success like that, in their debut. And like Jarrett said, man, just it happened. First time since, in 63, this has happened, man. This is, absolutely crazy. But, shout out to Trackhouse, man. They continue to innovate the sport in so many different ways. I mean, like when this Project 91 car was announced, like their ambition was to get, drivers from, all over the world to compete and stuff. At first, when those first dropped, I think like some of, the fan base's first thoughts were, oh yeah, let's have Jimmy Johnson run the Coca-Cola 600. But nope, they thought, bigger and better, more ambitious. First, you get Kimi Räikkönen, and now you get, SVG in one of these cars, and he wins in his debut. And shout out to Tiggs, too. Tiggs was working on the Project 91 car. That was awesome to see him celebrate on Twitter, too. It's good. He works hard in the sport. He finally gets a win. But let's not forget about the battle SVG had with Justin Haley at the end. Oh, my gosh. That was a doozy there. I mean, Justin Haley was holding his own. He had the much older tires, got the lead on track position, but he was still able to hold it, though. And then I think it was, with like 5 to go there, it felt like SVG was just toying with him there. You knew he had the fresher tires. He took his time and drove to victory. But hey, Jared, though, Justin Haley, I mean, still a valiant effort, to get a P2 there. You starting to see him as, like more potential for a playoff spot?
I don't know about a playoff spot just yet, but it shows, I think, the potential overall that he has. What I respected about what he did is that he didn't go out there and just, crash him like some drunk spotter would do. He instead went out there and raced him clean, raced him with respect, and that respect was given back and forth. Gisbergen put on a hell of a move on him, and he tried the best defense he could, overshot the corner, and the more patient, experienced driver won out with the better better tires, better pretty much everything at that point. I think the fact that he put up a battle at all at that point in the race was impressive enough. And you've been looking the last couple weeks and Call League overall, like you talked about earlier on, Darian, they have been getting faster, whether it's top 15 or top 10 speed. Let's not pretend that he was up there because he was one of the 3 best cars out there. But the team had the right luck. They've had the right strategy the last couple weeks. So they're starting to put stuff together, which at this point of the season, with how I think, honestly, a little underwhelming they've been so far, I think this is a good leaping off point for moving forward. Plus, Super Speedway's coming up, so they could win there too.
Yeah, and anyone can win there. Yeah, for sure. And just turn the whole playoff field upside down. Danny, do you think, what do you think about Haley here?
I'm sorry. I don't think any of the college drivers are making the playoffs unless Allmendinger can score a win on one of the few remaining road courses. I'm just not sold that Colleague is all the way there yet. He did good. He did really good. But from the second that SVG got around Elliott, Chase Elliott was basically realized this guy's way faster than me. I got to let him by. When that happened, I knew no one was going to stop him. So there was really no hope for the 31 there at the end.
Hey, he was on a mission. SVG was on a mission that day.
He was on a mission from God.
Someone else who was on a mission from God, though, was Austin Dillon trying to make a run there at the end, and he gave it all he had, and he went to the wall for it.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about some of the tomfoolery in a moment here, but later on. But I want to go over the top 10 here, give some of your thoughts on here. So SVG ends up winning in his NASCAR debut, started from 3rd, ends up winning. This is like that NASCAR Thunder 2003 stream I did, and like one of the fantasy drivers wins. You know what I mean? Just totally unexpected. And it's funny because I say like it was like, totally unexpected, but like he's a road course ringer. That just goes to show how, deep the competition is in the Cup Series. So for those saying like, oh, he just came over and just dominant, like, no, it wasn't that easy. But Justin Haley from 37th place ends up finishing P2. Chase Elliott from 26th in P3. Kyle Larson 4th. Kyle Busch 5th. We're going to talk about him next. Austin Cindric 6th. He needed that top 10. Michael McDowell 7th. Joey Logano 8th, Ty Gibbs 9th, and Chris Buescher rounds out the top 10. Fellas, obviously there's a lot of unique storylines, amongst the top 10, but the most unique to me, though, Kyle Busch still ends up with the top 5 after hitting the tire barriers. And he must have had no damage on, right, Danny? No damage on for Kyle Busch?
Must have not, because really everyone who went into those tire barriers seemed to be fine. It's like if you hit the wall like Harvick and Elliott did in qualifying, you're done. But go to those tire barriers, a little bit more forgiving, because we saw Gregson hit it like 4 times, and then he spun out coming into the pits after the race.
That's just, and he was the first. He was the first to hit that, and you just thought, oh, he's done. But then immediately you go back to Chase Elliott at the Roval. What was it, 2020, I believe, right?
And really, because that one at the Roval, like that. that showed how different of a Kyle Busch this was, because at the Roval, he literally Kyle Busch literally rage quitted that one. This one, he didn't give up. He said, no, just get me back out there. Because there was crews that was coming up, like just expecting him to get the window net down and come out of the car. You're done. No, he was like, no, we're not done. Just get me back out. And ultimately, it's good that he did that, because that instructed the rest of the crew the rest of the day, hey, if they go in this, they're probably fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna troll I'm gonna troll the opposite way of the way I usually would. Chase Elliott better than Kyle Busch, confirmed. Better comeback. He won the race. Kyle finished fifth. No, and all joking aside, when I saw that the first lap, because again, like I said, I was not like I gave the race overall, not the finish. The finish, 10 out of 10. I love that. I know I say the finish, I mean like the last 20, 22 laps or so. But I gave the race overall like a 5, 6 out of 10, just because of the first 2/3 of it. But like when I saw him first going out, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be one of those days, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it was for Noah Gragson, but it wasn't for Kyle Busch in this. Like, I don't even remember where he was running most of the race. I don't have my notes on me for if he got stage point, but
I believe it was like mostly in the back at points outside the top 20. Like I think like at one point I saw him like running a lowest position of 27th, 28th, I believe. So definitely the pit strategy, staying out definitely helped him out too. Definitely, for sure.
And I think a lot of the chicanery when it came to NASCAR scoring, I don't know if it helped Kyle Busch per se, but I think it did help some of those faster cars get stuck in the back and it helped those kind of slower cars or cars that ended up at the front. So I'd say but that's the thing about NASCAR is you got to get a little bit of luck when it comes to the end of these races too. So I'd still overall say it's pretty impressive that he managed to stay up there, race with Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott and all of them. So again, just another solid run for Kyle Busch. That's his 6th top 5 of the year. If I had to tell you there's only 2 drivers with more top 5s than Kyle Busch this year, as he's tied with a couple others with 6, who would you think they'd be?
William Byron, Kyle Larson.
Boom. Damn.
Oh, I was right. Oh, wow. Hey, it's really been checkers or records this year for Kyle Larson, really. Yeah. But he's starting to get a little bit better now. Ended up scoring a top 5 over the weekend. Yeah. Now, before we move on to the tomfoolery that took place in the field, because there's multiple things that happened. Some notables outside the top 10. I mean, Denny Hamlin, the pole sitter, finished 11th. He hit the wall earlier and stuff, so it was kind of screwed.
He originally didn't even want to go race on that service.
Yeah. It's funny how that works. And then William Byron, 13th. Then a guy who's been struggling all year, Ryan Preece, 15th now. He gained some points over the weekend. AJ Allmendinger, 17th. And some of these guys, they were running up front, but the whole pit strategy just screwed them over and stuff too. Now, some of these guys, certainly didn't need that, for the whole playoff hopes or whatever. But let's move on to the tomfoolery that took. Oh, go ahead.
Real quick, shout out to Jenson Button for racing up there in the top 10. And for Josh Bilicki, that 78 team was running in the top 20 for much of the day, finished 23rd at the end of it. Andy Lally, 26th in the RWR car. So some of the smaller teams, I think, should get a little shout out for having some pretty good runs.
Yeah, I mean, Button, that was funny. That was a funny moment too. Future NASCAR is so cool because little did I know like a decade ago that I'd be watching Jenson Button get spun out entering the pit lane, a former F1 champion. And then as he's trying to turn around the car, he nearly hits he nearly gets hit in the back by the reigning NASCAR Cup Series champion. So I don't know, there's something about NASCAR in 2023, man. Just it's awesome to see. It's awesome to see. It's wild. It's wild too. These are the types of storylines we love to see. And also tomfoolery is also some of the stuff we love to see for entertainment purposes. Now, really quick, before we get into that, we're almost to 100 likes. Make sure to lick the like button, everybody. 380 people watching. Lick the like button. Thank you so much for tuning in. But anyways, let's start with Gragson here. Noah Gragson. And I was on record saying this on Twitter. I'll be on record saying this now. Like, Noah Gragson he's on pace to having not only one of the worst bad seasons ever, but also one of the worst rookie seasons. And you could even make the case, maybe the worst rookie season ever. Now, of course, you can't blame it all on him, parts of the season. This team has been, it's his first year in the Cup Series, and this team, it's basically been, just one of those years where just get to next year, man. They're just trying to get to next year. And obviously a lot of personal stuff had came up. I don't want to get too much into that, but that
Right.
team's been going through a lot. Now, Noah Gragson, 3 times during the race, turn 6. Oh my gosh, the trilogy battle, the
He got
trilogy
real
battle.
comfy over there.
Yeah, very comfy. So comfy to the point that he was so comfy to the point that Wendy's decided to run the Baconator ad thing right as it after
Hey,
one of his spins.
props to him. Wendy's got their money's worth for the advertising, especially right there in the heart of McDonald's land because they're based in
Oh,
Chicago.
yeah, that's right.
Um,
Yeah.
they got their money's worth one way or another. Basically, his car is how you would feel like if you ate too much Wendy's.
Oh yeah, and
You just spin out and crash into a wall all the time.
I was
you might as well
burnt
call
bacon
that.
by the end there. I
Yeah,
mean,
you might as well call that corner the Baconator corner next year with how many times they got hit. Might as well.
he was cooking something. It just it burnt really bad.
Yeah, he was cooking those tires whenever he spun out for sure. But it was just funny because you see caution, Noah Gragson turned 6. Caution, Noah Gragson turned 6. And after the third time, you're like, is this it? Like, are you done? And just like, nope, he just kept on racing the entire time. So
I gotta say this. They showed at one point because Wendy's paid a lot of money for this race, and NBC was like working with them a lot. I could see on a lot of stuff. They showed at one point Noah Gregson was doing an autograph session, I think at a Chicago-based Wendy's location.
yeah.
And I noticed he was wearing like this outfit that was completely bacon from head to toe. And he also had on he also had while he was signing autographs a frosty. And you go to Wendy's, you get a frosty, you get the little small one, not too much, just a little ice cream here and there. He had like a large soda cup or something like that of frosty and was just eating that while he's signing an autograph. I'm like, how Noah Gregson like?
Yeah, he's so chill. He's so chill, As far as like a sponsor ambassador and stuff, a sponsor representative, he's definitely one of the best guys. But just the on-track performance, man, just obviously this year's a wash. But the icing on the cake, though, the icing on the cake, man, just it was after the race, man. Just Andy Lally's just chilling on his radio and stuff, letting them know, hey, this is what happened. And then Gregson lost it, and Andy Lally says on the radio, this effing idiot spinning out to the pit lane. And I guess the team thought it was him at first. He's like, nah, it was the 42, not me.
Sorry, I'm just laughing at Denny Delivers. Put Noah Gregson's name surrounded by like Chinese or Mandarin text, whatever. And so basically making the he's gonna go race for the Tigers in China.
The Guangdong Tigers of the Chinese Racing League of NASCAR. And if that ever becomes a real thing, just oh my gosh, the memes for that for any driver announced for that series.
Get ready to learn. Get ready to learn Wendy's, buddy.
Yeah, I think. And Gregson maybe he's learned a little too much Wendy's now. But nah, I don't. You know what, Gregson, just get through the season, man. Just get through the season. I feel like at this point, that's just the mentality of the team. Let's just get through it. Just get through it. And then we had mentioned this earlier. Austin Dillon, while running P2, he hit the wall. He hit the wall coming out of the final turn, and then just kept full throttling it, and just eventually just stopped it and backed it up too.
Yeah, credit to him that he didn't stop on the track and stop the racing action. He went back on pit road. I know NASCAR usually knows that, but I have a feeling they were okay in that instance with it with nobody around.
Yeah, and the track's big enough too. I mean, it's a street course. It'd be different if it was an oval. It'd be understood, but like it's a street course, and it was the first turn of it, so it was plenty of time to just get that car backed up and not manipulate the race in any type of way. But the main thing though, what y'all think of the stack up, Jerry? I'll start with you. That stack up was crazy. That was a crazy stack up.
I'll be honest. I was expecting that like multiple times in this race, and we'll talk about it in a minute. I think that NASCAR's restart policy. They need to do it a lot more tracks than just this was a big reason why we didn't see so much of it. But man, the memes wrote themselves. I can't believe, and maybe I missed it because I'll be honest, like I didn't like Twitter before, and now that it doesn't work, I don't like it even more. But I can't believe nobody made an edit with the Blues Brothers with the big crash at the end. Like I can't believe nobody made that edit.
Damn, that's a missed opportunity.
Maybe they just didn't want to fight that copyright.
Well, if somebody does and wants to post it on Twitter, just tag us and we'll retweet it after the show. But we all knew it was coming, and that's kind of that was initially part of what kind of ticked me off about this course layout before. I'm impressed they didn't do it more because of how narrow those corners were. 90-degree corners you couldn't really see around. Like I said, I think NASCAR did their side of it. I swear I'm starting to sound like NASCAR shill in the chat. But I swear, I think 90% or 95% of what they needed to do, they did. And I think that's part of why we didn't see so much of that. I'm just hoping NASCAR learns from this when we go to Indianapolis or COTA. Or honestly, I'm fine with just about any other place we have stack ups on a regular basis because, I know I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here, but I loved not having to expect everyone to just eat shit in the first turn.
Yeah, it was refreshing. Danny, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, it was refreshing for sure. And, one of the things that certainly helped out with that, with the, just with only one, stack up incident was certainly the single file restart. So fellas, let me ask you this question. I just put up the poll in the chat. After what we saw last weekend on the Chicago street course, as far as the restarts were concerned, should single file restarts be used at more road courses? Danny, what do you think?
I'm gonna say no on that one, mainly because I feel like the other road courses are actually still wider. The ones that are actually built to be a proper road course are wide enough. I think that we can still make it work. This one, a lot of the parts on that track, especially coming to the start finish line, were pretty narrow straightaways in some parts. So I think it worked better, especially when we had wet conditions. I think it worked better for this track. If we go to Watkins Glen, we go to Sonoma, we go to other places like that, COTA, whatever you may have it. I think the double file restart still works fine at those locations. But for a straight course, something like that, I think it worked better in this case.
I think I kind of said I'm all for going single file at road courses just because I'm sick of seeing cars get wrecked all the time. I think Sonoma and Watkins Glen I think they're better with those ones. Maybe you can keep that double file, sure. But Indianapolis, COTA, those two right off the bat, and any other street course you do, I think having a rolling start. I think even if you do the double file restarts, a rolling start out of whatever corner is the last one to the finish line should be something they do so you can spread these cars out. You're not having Joey Logano try and go from 21st to win in one corner like he did at Indy. I think that would make it, honestly, it'd make it more acceptable of a show to watch. I think the last couple years, like the end of COTA, the end of the COTA race, I think we all thought the first 75 laps that were pretty dang good. And then we turn around and we have a complete just mess up, or not even 75 laps, 75%, but just a complete mess up of the entire vibe of that race. And now people look back and think it's an awful race because of how dumb those restarts were. Indy road course, same thing. I think that just these little tweaks and changes could do that. And I'll be honest, I'm a nostalgic fan who wants some of the old stuff back that I miss.
Yeah, I definitely agree. They definitely need to do this on more road courses. But when I say more, just COTA and the Indy road course, to Jarrett's earlier points. I mean, Sonoma and Watkins Glen, yeah, like those are perfectly fine for double file restarts. It's still entertaining, still get the best racing, of course. But yeah, no, for, if we're going to have the Indy road course still, definitely need to implement those single file starts and at COTA as well. And the chat agrees as well. 77% have voted and they think, definitely more tracks need to have single file, or more road courses need to have single file restarts. Probably they agree with the tracks we listed and probably agree that, Sonoma and Watkins Glen, we don't need that. But it leads us to another question though. And, we had talked about, some of y'all have already given your opinions on, the race and stuff, but now what does the future hold? We're going to get into the ratings and stuff a little bit later on. But I'll start with you, Jarrett, you being, from there and stuff, from the area. What do you think the future holds for the Chicago street course?
I mean, I think a little more positively of the future of it now after the cup race went well. But I think it all has to do with however Chicago politicians view it and whatever kickback money and a little under the table money they get for it. They don't care about ratings. I really don't think they do because they got plenty of different teams that'll get ratings the same as that race or better. I think NASCAR would need a Chicago more than a Chicago would need a NASCAR. So I think what you got to look at is overall the weekend itself. And if you look at the overall weekend, I think the Xfinity race was just plain bad. You had 3 of the 4 concerts canceled. You had somebody break in, and I believe their Corvette is what somebody said onto the racetrack.
Yeah. Did some laps.
And you had flooding. The Cup race, I think that for NASCAR fans, and well enough, overshadowed a lot of the bad and wiped a lot of that away, and so it should be, especially with the finish and how it went. But when it comes to people who are looking out for, probably their own interests, but we'll just say the people of Chicago, I think that you got to look broader at it too. I mean, he was very much against it before, played, gave a nice, save a face or whatever when it was in town. But now I have a quote I put in here I want to read. It's a typical politician speak, but the mayor, he had put that we're grateful despite the extreme weather that NASCAR was able to deliver with very minimal disruption. Like everything I inherited, I'll assess and grade it with an open process. Now, if it would return, it'd be next year, July 6th and 7th. And they need to decide by the end of the year with all this. But I don't think that, I think NASCAR, like I said, can do this in just about any city that will welcome them in there. So I don't think it's a necessity that they have to come back as much as if they can find a city to take it over, whether that be Pittsburgh, New York, Philadelphia, Boston, Denver. There's lots of options.
I don't know that a street course necessarily needs to stay in one city for a long period of time. The whole thing of this is to take it to different markets that, just to put it out there into a city. It works. And we've seen it can work, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in Chicago. I think that we could take this, move it to, play it like a WrestleMania, take it to a different place each year. Keep it reserved for that weekend, but take it different places. Have it in New York City, have it in Washington, D.C., have it in, even though they have a track nearby, Atlanta, Georgia. Take it to some other big cities across the United States, or even in other countries, and try it.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, like after the race and stuff, obviously, recency bias, like, oh yeah, this is definitely going to be, a mainstay on the calendar now. But I, from the very beginning, I was like, if this was considered a success, I could definitely see it back for, 2 more years. But then after that 3-year contract's up, I could definitely see, NASCAR just, like, hey, like, having different cities bid for a race and stuff too. I mean, like, other cities were watching this to see how it would go. And with everything going against it, now, obviously, Chicago may not care about the ratings as much, because they have so many teams, so many sports teams and stuff anyways. They're used to, the eyes being on them sometimes, right? So, but other cities may feel differently, though, about it, and this opens up the window to just so many possibilities for street course markets, man. Like the first couple of cities on my mind, I definitely want to see, like, racing the streets of New York City. That'd be a major accomplishment. Or go to Denver, go to Seattle. Those are some pretty untapped markets, and have some NASCAR history as well.
Even though someone pointed out Washington D.C. would probably be ruined by politics too, that you're not wrong. But the visual of a race happening with the White House in the background would be kind of cool.
Well, that'd be cool.
You want to know? Okay, I know we're going in fantasy land when we talk about it, but what's something that's really cool about Washington D.C. and this is going to give me away as a total nerd if I hadn't already. But the city of Washington D.C. is set up differently than most modern cities are. Most modern cities are set up in like 90-degree corners, blocks like that, whereas Washington D.C. is set up in a wheel and spoke pattern with the roads, where the roads all go out, and then there's sort of like a wheel of like a circle going around it in a lot of areas. So that would honestly, I don't know if it'd be good racing, but it would definitely be a unique kind of street course.
Oh yeah, definitely one of the most unique street courses.
So you're saying with the spoke pattern, we could almost make the track do like a, I don't know the right word is, like a cross kind of functionality, or where it looks like that. I don't know.
I think there could be. There could be a lot of different ways to do it. Now I want to see it, and I know it's not going to happen.
I mean, not to get political, I don't care who the president is. It would be cool if Washington D.C. have the president of the United States wave the green flag.
Yeah, definitely need a lot of Secret Service by him, of course. Probably 3 or 4. Yeah, 3 or 4 Secret Service.
Bubble wrap or something.
Now, I will say this though, and end off here on a funny joke. Just, let's say we do get a race in Washington D.C. and Biden's the president. Just don't have his son, wait the green flag. Just saying. Anyway,
Or drive.
No, okay.
We'll call it the
drive,
Corruption 220 at the DC.
Oh man.
Sorry. I'm sorry. He'd probably say like, gentlemen, turn him on.
Something crazy. But anyways, yeah, the poll, the chat agrees though. As far as the future of this race with me, 66% say that, they see this race going on for 3 years, and then 26% think it's only going to be a one and done, but 7% think it'll last 5+ years. So that might be a little more, Chicago-based locals, hoping for that. But hey, if you were there. Yeah, but hey, you know what though? It was still cool. They were able to get all that stuff in.
I'll say this: no matter what you thought of it, the visuals were really badass.
Oh yeah,
a lot of the photographers that I follow on Twitter, their pictures they put out were just awesome to see.
I do know somebody who helped. So my uncle had company had sponsored the Xfinity race, and he said that like when they were trying to change stuff though, it was so difficult because of the close quarters that they couldn't move anything in the garage area and on pit road. So if they do come back, that is something I think that needs to be addressed on a team side. But I'm just there are a lot of logistical issues that need to be addressed, and I'm just wondering if I think the city's gonna hold out until they get a better deal, because
well, as far as I know, they have until 180 days until the next scheduled race to decide.
I saw it was January 1st, 2024 is the deadline. Again, to kind of knowing the area, basically whoever was elected because they're not Lori Lightfoot. Now, I think what they're going to do is get some polls in Chicago and see what people actually think. If the polls are approving, it's coming back, I think. If not, though, or if it's wishy-washy, I think then it'd be more in jeopardy.
Yeah, one of the best visuals, though, all weekend, and chat, do your thing. One of the best visuals all weekend definitely was like coming out of the final turn. Like you just saw like just the regular streets of Chicago. There was a walkway. There was like steam in the background and stuff. There was like these like, I don't know, I think there was like trains running in the background over the people walking on the streets as well. Like it was an awesome visual of the city. And then on the straightaway, like I used one of the pictures for the thumbnail, got these giant buildings in the background with, I think it said like drivers start your engines or race. It said something on the buildings. But yeah, that's one of the benefits of running in a street course. You may not get the best overall racing product, but the visuals, oh my goodness, the visuals are awesome. And that leads me to my final question. With all of the stuff that was going against the race during the weekend, the weather issues, the on-track product maybe not being the best, under dry conditions, would y'all consider this weekend a success for NASCAR? Danny, I'll start off with you. Yes or no?
Yeah, I would consider it a success. Even with all the weather, most of the crowd still held it out and still stuck around for the race. It's kind of a shame we don't have Eric here, because it would be nice to hear what was the at-person experience of that. But I'm sure he'll probably have a vlog if he hasn't already put out yet. I haven't noticed it yet, but so you get a chance to get an idea from him what it was like. But yeah, I would say it was a success. I think those who were there seemed to really like it, and of course, we were all kind of a little skeptical, but when I saw that news video of that one little boy saying, like, I can't believe out of all the places that could go, they chose Chicago. It's like, okay, if little man's happy, I'm happy.
That's what it's all about. And really, like, before the racing had even taken place and stuff, before the weekend had really started, I mean, there was this whole Bubba Wallace block party thing, and there were, thousands of people. There were a lot of people that showed up to it. Yeah, 7,000 people showing up to that. And
Bubba about needed Secret Service himself, because he was just crowded by everyone.
He was crowded and stuff. And like, they brought the pit car, they brought a car out there. They did pit stops. And, some of these people that, they'd never been to a NASCAR race in their lives and stuff too. And now, they're getting, the up close experience, not just with the race, but, with certain personalities, the teams and stuff. Like that's what it's all about there. And yeah, like what Danny said, yeah, it's that little kid, they really could have gone anywhere, but they chose there. So that's what it's all about. But Jarrett, was this a success or not?
I think there's 3 ways that I can kind of break it down, but really quick, Adam Stern tweeted this about what Ben Kennedy just said on the street race. He said basically, so while Ben Kennedy set up NASCAR Chicago, he also has been taking site visits for potential other races and exhibitions in Canada, New York, Denver, the Middle East, Seattle, and Mexico.
Oh, ooh, interesting.
So
Very interesting.
Just not taking any of that Saudi blood money. But when it comes to the weekend being a success overall, short term, because of the ratings, yes. Having almost 5 million viewers, having about 250,000, if my math is correct, in Chicago alone watching. Yes, short term, I think that would be. The overall weekend itself, when it comes to execution, yes and no. Sunday, yes. Xfinity, because I think they handled the Xfinity race, even with the cautions, terribly, and they learned from that for the next day. So I'll lean yes. Long term, I think still be to be determined, because I think long term, like if this week we see a bump up in ratings from last year, and then we see that next couple weeks, because we got 5 straight weeks on USA Network now, and you can kind of see it stem from that point on. Yes, I would say total success in that department. I still think, though, long term, or even 2-3 years at this point, I still think that moving it out of Chicago would be a better idea. My idea that I had said on my post-race stream is, if you can manage to get this longer and make this a true success over time, you see the Chicago market bumping up more, you see overall ratings popping up more, you're trending all the time, you're doing the mass marketing you did for this weekend, which Fox, take notes, because they did more marketing for this than Fox did for the Daytona 500, and that is pathetic. And more big events in NASCAR need to be promoted like this, because this promotion, I'll say this, anything else, the promotion was perfect leading up to it. Now it's just, you got to do that more often. I feel like NASCAR would be in such a better place if they can learn that as the most important thing from this weekend.
Yeah, thank goodness Fox didn't do the broadcasting, because that race would have been so much more, like, it wouldn't have been as entertaining if Fox had taken over.
My idea on my post-race stream was, if you know whatever one's the last year, try and have like a year where it's Chicagoland, because if you're going to try and build the market and then just leave forever, then there's no point. It's just going to fall away again. You have a track that NASCAR owns, they keep up on, do sort of a transition year to get people like, hey, we have this track here, we can't stay in the city forever. And do the same thing like in New York. Hey, we got a track, I don't know how far away, but Watkins Glen, New York, that you can go to. And go to, I don't know, maybe if you go to Seattle, hey, we got the track up in Portland. Stuff like that. If
they do Washington, there's Richmond, not that far away.
Yeah, they need to do, if they're gonna do this, and this is gonna be where NASCAR goes when it comes to promoting to new audiences, I think they need to have a plan in place for not just the year of, but afterward. Because you've seen with LA where they kind of one-upped it a little bit for the Coliseum race, but it more or less was the same, and you saw the dip in ratings and the dip in attendance and just overall scope of it. They need to learn from that and try and have a real plan to move forward and kind of one-up the year before, rather than do the same thing so people are like, oh, I kind of know what to expect kind of deal.
Do you guys think there could be a possibility where we see NASCAR coexist in a street course weekend with another major series like IndyCar or even Formula One?
Well, I know I heard something about IMSA would be involved next year if this still happens. But
and that makes sense. It's the same ownership, but I'm thinking it would be cool to see different ownership groups collaborate and say, hey, let's work on one weekend together.
Yeah, because I mean, those are the two, IndyCar and NASCAR, two of the biggest, major auto racing, sanctioning bodies. That'd be great.
Now, IndyCar currently has the Nashville Grand Prix. I think this is realistically the last year Titans are getting ready to build their new stadium, which would be going in where the paddock is currently at for the current configuration. And I don't know that they have a backup plan associated for that. So for now, I'm saying that goes away. Maybe they want to take their Music City Grand Prix date, and if they don't move it to the Nashville Super Speedway for an oval race, maybe they want to go to another street course, and they might call NASCAR up and say, hey, y'all still in Chicago? Where are you going?
Yeah, but yeah, the M's the deal too. Yeah, that would make a little bit more sense because NASCAR currently owns that now. But yeah, IndyCar though, hey, don't hold. I would definitely want to hold out hope for that for sure. But yeah,
I will say last thing. Like that promotion, man, like that promotion that they did for this weekend, is just amazing. And I think I said it in our group chat on Friday. That I was like, man, this is more than even the Netflix series has done so far. Because really, like when you think of promotion for over a year for a big American event, I can't think of anything that IndyCar or Formula One has done better than what NASCAR did. Like I think execution wise, again, there's still a lot to be desired, and the city, if they're willing to do it long term, needs to pitch in more. Even though there was a good amount around the city that they got set up, but honestly, like that was vintage NASCAR marketing. Just put it everywhere. Like my dad was sitting out with me. We had paused a show. We were waiting for like I think my mom and brother to come out. We were gonna watch a movie or something. It was paused, and on the pause screen of like the 5 ads that were rolling is NASCAR in Chicago and a big 22 Joey Logano car and the big Chicago stuff and right in your face. More of that, please.
You know, if I'm not mistaken, me and Darian were watching Money in the Bank on Saturday. I think there was even an advertisement for this race during that show.
Oh yeah.
It was on Peacock, and keep in mind this is a race that was being broadcasted to people. I'm sorry, this is a wrestling show that's being broadcasted to people all over the country and all over the world because it's happening in England. So you had the chance for even people in England to find out what is this NASCAR thing.
Yeah, we've been preaching this for years. We need more of it, but we finally got it for sure. But let's do it for like all, most of the races, right? Let's have this level. If we can have this level of promotion for most of the Cup Series races on the schedule, NASCAR would be in much better shape for sure. But closing out the poll though, was this weekend a success for NASCAR? A whopping 94% say yes, while 6% say no. So some people either just don't like the street course racing, which is understandable, or you just may not like the city of Chicago.
Is there really that many burner counts for a spotter in here?
Or a certain NASCAR YouTuber. But anyways, but yeah, look, we'll get into the ratings for sure. But before we do that, the playoff bubble. We keep talking about this playoff bubble situation, guys. Oh my goodness. Look, you may not like the playoffs all the way, but if you're going to have them, at least have the cutoff line be entertaining, right? And oh man, with 8 races to go, let's go over them. Right now, currently in 15th and 16th are the 2 Toyota affiliated teams of Bubba Wallace and Ty Gibbs. Bubba Wallace is plus 15 and Ty Gibbs is only 6 points above the cut line. Now from 17th to 24th, oh, this is where it gets good, Chad. This is where it gets, you live for stuff like this. And P17, 6 points below the cut line is Daniel Suarez. And 18th is Michael McDowell, only 10 points below the cut line. 19th, AJ Allmendinger, minus 24. In 20th is Alex Bowman, minus 26. Justin Haley, 21st, minus 45. Tied with Austin Cindric as well. And 23rd is Corey LaJoie, minus 47. And finally, the sport's most popular driver currently sits 24th in the standings, Chase Elliott, minus 55. So, fellas, I'll start off with you, Danny. Just give me your initial thoughts on that playoff cut line there. After I read all of those all the point standings off, just what do you think? What do you think about how close it is?
I think it's pretty cool that we've got guys like Michael McDowell having a chance to get his way in. It's also cool to see guys like AJ Allmendinger, his first season back in the Cup Series full time, and he's got a chance to make it into the playoffs here. Ty Gibbs, very first season in NASCAR, and he's got a chance to get his way into it. Bubba Wallace, even, I feel like in years past, he's been so far outside the cut line. You feel like he has to win Daytona, but now he's in as of right now. Mm-hmm. So he's showing some good speed there. Then you got guys like Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman. They've been sidelined from injuries. Bowman affected by big points penalties. It's kind of crazy. Bowman, if he didn't have that points penalty, he could have still been fine even with the injury time. But he's still realistically not out of it, minus 26.
So for me, I'm still going to fixate on Chase Elliott on this one because he has to average, I did the math, 8 races, 55 points. You have to average 6.875, so 7 points a race over, at the moment, Ty Gibbs. If Elliott doesn't win this weekend and nobody underneath that cut line or on the cut line wins, I think the realistic ability of him being able to point his way in and beat guys like Bubba Wallace and Ty Gibbs goes up immensely. As long as he doesn't like wreck, you know, that could very well happen. But 55 points, which again, the reason we talked about this group wasn't so, you know, oh, Chase Elliott's last, so we can add him in and talk about him, is because he is now within one race of the cut line, even without winning a race. So I think it is very possible that he does this. And you could see, I mean, he's been cutting like 20-point chunks here and there. Like his bad races, he's still cutting like 9 or 10 points out of that. If you look at the amount of points he's been scoring a race, he would easily point his way in at the clip that everybody is going right now. So he's the true wild card in this whole group. It is interesting. We talked about the colleague guys, though. AJ Allmendinger only 24 out with a good amount of road courses left, even if he doesn't perform to the standard that we are used to him performing, which he hasn't so far. He still could easily point his way in, especially with 2 super speedways in there, a couple of tracks that can be wild cards for fuel mileage, like Michigan or Pocono. So it's wide open right now. So even if a Bubba Wallace is plus 15 after a not so good points day over the cut line, you can't say you're safe just yet, even though they get better as the season goes on.
Yeah, and now we have 12 different winners, but of course, you know, SVG is not racing for the championship, so really only 11 spots are locked up. But that means that leaves, you know, 12th through 16th. And like you just said, I mean, like, you know, with all the different amount of winners we've had just in the second year of this next gen car, I mean, I think I see like 2 or 3 guys that I could definitely see get a win below the cut line. I mean, we talk about, you know, wild cards and stuff. I think Michael McDowell is one of the biggest wild cards because, you know, obviously we got a couple of road courses we're going to. Now I'm not thinking about Watkins Glen. I'm thinking mostly about the Indy road course. I mean, we've seen it last year. That road course can be, you know, its own beast, its own wild card in a way and stuff too. And, you know, with everybody messing up, I mean, you know, it's a chance for Michael McDowell to pounce, maybe get a win. Chase Elliott, I mean, you know, I think he's definitely the best in terms of odds to get a win below the cut line. It could be this weekend. It could be at Watkins Glen or just anywhere else. You never know. And then, I mean, I feel like Alex Bowman's the most obvious guy here. I mean, you know I named 2 Hendrick guys, you know, for the final 2 guys who I think could get a win. But again, it's Bowman. He may not be having the best year, but he was the points leader at one point before the penalty stuff. And it's been a rough couple of weeks, but look, drops for Hendrick, you can't count him out. But it is crazy, though, that half of Hendrick is below the cut line. You know, who would have thought? So, yeah. That's the point situation. But again, like I said in my hot take, keep an eye out on those colleague cars. You know, maybe at least one of them, right? At least one colleague car, right?
They ain't making it unless AJ gets a road course.
Yeah, unless AJ gets a road course win. You know, he has been a little more consistent, but I'd put more of my money on like McDowell to make it or like a Suarez. But we'll see. You never know. But yeah, now time to get into the ratings, the TV ratings. And fellas, you know, we talk about, you know, W's and L's in terms of the ratings column, but it's safe to say this was a massive W for the sport of NASCAR. So let's get into them. So the race, so 4.7 million viewers tuned in to the Chicago Street Race, nearly beating out this year's Indy 500, which scored just under 5 million, 4.9 million. Viewership peaked at just over 5 million, 5.3 to be exact, during the finish. And then Chicago had a whopping 9.29 rating. Just by comparison, it was basically a 3 rating for the Daytona 500. It was the highest NBC telecast since the 2017 Brickyard 400, which for that race, it was 5.6 million that tuned in. And it was the 8th most watched NBC telecast since the 2015 deal started. And finally, just over 160,000 watched via Peacock and NBC digital platforms, making it the most streamed. Now
that's the most streamed race, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I was gonna say I heard something said it was the most streamed thing ever on Peacock. Like that can't be true because they have the WWE shows on there.
Yeah, but before we get into the famous Iceberg poll there, I mean, like, Phil, that's incredible. That's an incredible feat there, too, especially just, you know, to have that 9.29 within the market. Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome ratings. Props to NASCAR for that. And props to NBC for the promotion too. It obviously made a huge difference for sure. Now, we talked about those ratings, but now it's time to get into our own rating segment. It's time for the poll, the famous iceberg poll on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Now, here are the poll ratings. 61% of you thought this Chicago street race was a great one, and 25% thought it was just good, just a good race. But the net positivity is 86%. Now, Jared, is that's certainly one of the highest this year, correct?
Give or take. I think if it's not the top 5, it's close. Give or take.
Yeah.
We've had a few very highly rated races this year.
Yeah, just might be barely inside the top 5 or just hovering around it.
Put it like this: how does it compare to something like the Daytona 500?
I haven't looked in a while, but I believe
Okay.
Daytona was in the 70s, I want to say.
Okay. Okay, so not bad, not bad. So very, very positively viewed race for sure. 7% thought it was just meh, just average, but 3% were either below. 3% thought it was below average, and 4% thought it was bad. So in the end, that is a 7% net negativity rate. But hey, overall, 86% for the famous iceberg poll. That's pretty damn good. But now it's time to get into the comments section here.
Well, the first one, surprise, surprise, came from Spencer. Do you think it's positive, negative meme, or I'll add in a little fourth fold here. Is it 2 of them?
Oh, 2 of them. Since you added the fourth, it has to be 2 of them, right?
Well, what 2?
That's it.
Oh, so meme, positive meme.
Yeah, positive meme.
All right, Spencer says, I just ripped the paper behind it. We have witnessed history here, fellas, or folks. I can't read my own handwriting. Shane Van Gisbergen, P.S. Noah Gragson with the turn 6 wall, rate limit exceeded. Please wait a few moments, then try again.
Yeah, positive meme.
Positive meme. And speaking of the rate limits, freaking Twitter locked me out of my account like during the finish. So everyone's just like live reacting to it. I'm just sitting there just alone.
Follow us on Threads.
Yeah. I just joined Threads too, just before the show. So that was easy to join. So follow us on there. But hey, let's get into the positives, bro.
Well, Denny Delivers said Shane Van Gisbergen has to love the best stats has to have the best stats in all of the Cup Series ever, leading a 1.0 average finish. Marshall Griffin 69 with our beautiful cars, his profile picture that I will always shout out when I see it, says, yeah, I'd call this race a massive success. JD 185 says that crossover he did on Haley was beautiful. He does that in supercars too. Used it to his advantage. What a race. Scrolling down a little bit more, we have SMCS Racing Network, who says a New Zealander who drives in Australia won in America on its Independence Day weekend. You cannot make this stuff up.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's right. Hey, only in America though, right? Only in America.
Only in America. Yep. Let's see. Allo Lover 6012 says, I'm in literal shock and awe. I have witnessed a historic moment in NASCAR. Congratulations to SVG. What a race.
Yeah.
Rolling down a bit more. Let's see. I'm trying to find. There's a lot of people. Just incredible race, awesome race, fun finish.
A lot of positive comments. It sounds like.
Cito says first time since Johnny Rutherford in 1963, a driver wins in his Cup Series debut. History.
Yeah. And a lot of people had thought like, oh, that's the first time ever. I mean, it hadn't been done in so long, so it's
the
understandable.
First time in the modern era.
Yeah, in the modern era, though. Yeah.
There were a lot of comments. This is actually our most voted on poll of the year. Publicly, it says I believe 16 or 17,000. This is the first poll, I believe, so it might be the most voted ever. The first poll that cracked the 20,000 vote mark, at least from my studio here.
Wow.
I was going to say that's got to be close to the top.
Andrew Meyer says he has his rankings for all the races this year. He puts this one 10th out of 22.
That's good.
And let's see here. So when can we get NASCAR Supercar Series going, says Luca.
I mean, that's basically what the next gen is. So.
Oh, here's a good one. Quinn says Mike Bagley is a badass broadcaster. I agree.
Oh, yeah, dude. Just NBC, the radio style broadcast for these road courses, just absolutely innovative.
And thank the good Lord that NBC broadcasted this one, because I feel like Fox would have just been
Oh yeah,
not the same.
I said that earlier. There just would have.
We'd have Mike Joy tell us how we're keyboard warriors if we weren't liking this race.
For sure. Have some more memes or some more sketches, pre-race.
Get a skit of the Chicago Bull hanging out for Watermelon Sea because Ross won last week. I don't know.
Yeah, something cringy.
Well,
but all right,
got
so
to
those
the
were the
last
positives.
one. Yeah.
What about the negatives?
Yeah, let's get to the gutter. First one's from ASIMO 2001. Says, it was truly terrible. I don't ever care to see a race like that again here. The one who came up with this idea should be left in Chicago.
Wow. Whoa. Damn. Okay.
Find your burner, Brett.
Devin 1951. I mean, I get why some people might not like it. Like, I'm not gonna say that I like the first 2/3
Look,
of it.
it doesn't produce the best product. I mean, that's just typical street course racing.
But let's be real. Diehard fans were watching for the racing. We're not watching for the spectacle.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, I said my hot take. I think the rain helped it. So
yeah. Oh yeah, it definitely helped it. Yeah, for sure.
Might help the ratings having it finish at that as late as possible.
Yeah.
Devin 1951 says that race was horrendous. NASCAR, please never do that again. And then Supercharger Boy 5750 simply says horrible.
Yeah. Those were pretty tame. Those were pretty tame gutter comments, actually. They just negative comment, just left it at that. Nothing personal. Okay.
At least they said zero about Chicago itself. They about the race.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. But that'll do it for this edition of the famous Iceberg Poll on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And yes, folks, we have reached the top of the hour, but since this race, since this race was so short, we can just get through this really quickly.
And what really happened, Darren? We were watching Money in the Bank the whole time. We weren't missing anything on TV.
So funny story. So yeah, I went over to Danny's house to watch Money in the Bank. Hey, Dylan, what's up, man? How's it going? Yep, Dylan, he's a PR guy for Colleague Racing. So, yep, good to see you in the chat. No, me and Danny were watching Money in the Bank. And then Claudia was nice enough to bring out the smaller TV in the living room, and we had the Xfinity race on, and nothing was really going on. I mean, it was raining. It
was just single file, Justin Marks blew his engine. That was about it.
Yeah, and then Cole Custer was, dominating, and I get I get the sense that those first laps, like, they were just filling out the track, so that's why there wasn't like a whole lot of stuff going on. But I mean, also it could be to y'all's earlier point, it wasn't a wet surface, so, or was it a wet surface at the
No, it was
okay, so it wasn't a wet surface, it was a dry surface, so maybe that could have been the exact same thing for the Cup Series if it wasn't wet. But yeah, shortest race in NASCAR Xfinity Series history. It was a little longer than the shortest race in history. I think that took place in like the 50s or something.
And really, it's funny, both races was shorter because we didn't even talk about this. Honestly, I think I liked the Cup race being 75 laps as opposed to 100.
Oh, yeah, we had missed that. That's right. Yeah, 100 laps, that would have been an overkill. Yeah. I think we would have had like a much more negative opinion on this race if it were 100 laps. So I think this is a good cue to keep it at 75, perhaps.
Let me pull this up. Racing Reference really janky nowadays. I wanted to pull up the Chicago race because I believe it was almost 3 hours long, and we only finished 3/4 of it. Like, that race would have been closing in on probably 4 hours.
Yeah, you definitely would have seen a much more negative opinion on this race if we went the full distance, I feel like.
Yeah,
for sure. So I think 75% that's a good point. Or 75 laps, that's a good point. But 15 laps though, oh gosh. And the craziest thing is the next day, that Sunday, they tried to get it in that morning. What was it? 10 a.m. Central start time as well.
I got up early, came up here, had all my post-race crap set up. I had to go to my cousin's graduation party, which was much more enjoyable than the Xfinity race. And as I'm getting there, hey, did you hear about the Xfinity race? I'm like, yeah, it's still rain delayed. Yeah, forever. There's just called it. Just, you know what? Cole Custer's the winner.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to do a post-race stream after that.
I was driving through, actually, pretty much. I was in Huntley, Illinois, so I was driving through the Chicago suburbs, as people like to call them. But basically anything in northern Illinois that's not Chicago, people call the suburbs. So this is the resentful former Illinoisan speaking from experience. We're not all from Chicago.
Yeah, no.
You're not?
Thank
Yeah,
God.
just a similar thing with like with Nevada. Well, actually, no, it's not because like outside of like Las Vegas, it's just a bunch of
Like,
desert and stuff.
I guess
So.
people expect Tennessee people. We gotta all be hanging out in Nashville for country boots and our
Yeah,
cowboy hats.
yeah,
Yeehaw!
hanging out at the Grand Old Opry every night, right? Right.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
fun when we went, but yeah,
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, no, it's
anyway.
fun for sure. But yeah, but no. So that was the Xfinity race in a nutshell. Congrats to Cole Custer on the victory. So yeah. But we are now 5 minutes past the top of the hour, which means we have approached the first super chat stage break. So as soon as I get started reading, yep, just start the timer for me. Hold on. Let me change the chat really quick. All right, we are good now. So Groovy Goose, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. He says, can we just appreciate the racing pioneers that are Jimmy Bly and Joe Tanto